r/ask Reddit. What is something you only notice when it's bad? Audio sync to video. Absolutely horrendous when it's off by just a fraction of a second from seeing the mouth move to hearing the sound, or hearing the sound before the mouth moves. Similar to this, when the closed captions are also off by a sentence. I use CC to fill in the gaps of what I didn't hear properly, and seeing the mouth move separately from the audio and then trying to read the captions that don't match and keep track of what is going on is headache inducing. Your back. I sometimes catch myself thinking about not feeling any pain in my back, and try my hardest to truly appreciate the fact that it doesn't hurt and I can function like a normal human on this day. In November 2017, I was rear-ended by a guy doing 70 while I was stopped. Broke 9 ribs, my shoulder blade, and my sacrum. I have low back pain every damn day. Those days when I get the ice heat pain med mix just right and I get a reprieve are magical. How are the doctors about giving you pain meds? It's ducking rough out there for pain patients. My boyfriend broke his back in multiple places in a car accident and they still refuse to give him any sort of painkillers. Ridiculous. Live sound mixing. No one looks at the sound booth guy gal until there's mic feedback. Heck, it's been a movie cliche for years. The bad or newcomer bands have mics feedback just to signal the audience how bad they are, lol. Or every scene in any show or movie when someone uses mic they test to see if it's working and it feedbacks every time. As a live sound engineer, it's huge pet peeve of mine. Septic tank issues. Plumbing in general. Your nose when you're sick and congested. Being able to breathe clearly is great. Or good eyesight. It's a blessing to be able to see without external aids. Brakes on your car. Nothing like slowly pressing on the brakes as you approach a red light to hear the demons scratching on a chalkboard. One time I was driving my father's car, but when I pressed on the brakes nothing happened and the car crashed. I was driving by myself, so I had no actual proof that the brakes didn't work. Both of my parents insisted that it was my fault, and they just wouldn't even consider the possibility that it was the brakes. I should mention that I wasn't injured, and I hit a rock which was big enough to stop the car. A lie. Good one. Tap water, air quality. Basically infrastructure. We take it for granted, but it takes 24/7 maintenance. Electricity, water, roads, food distribution, internet, etc. You only notice when the roads are bad because they haven't been serviced, when the internet is slow, when the grocery store has few supplies, when the water is funky, when the power goes out. Considering like 3/4 of my city is out of power, heat, and internet right now due to 2 ice storms plus trees plus power lines. This is quite true at the moment. The dust that collects on the floor trim in the house. I know it's bad when I see the huge dust bunnies in the hallways next to the trim. Just live in candlelight. If you can't see it, it doesn't exist. CGI. Bad CGI can completely ruin a scene movie. Good CGI you'd never even think twice about it. Just wait 10 years and your good CGI may be bad CGI, unless you're talking about the original Jurassic Park. Abuse. Everyone asks why someone would stay with an abusive partner, but 99% of the time the abuse comes in spurts and the rest of the time is fine. Abusive partners aren't abusive all the time. Trauma bonding. It's a real beach. The good times are great, but the abuse is temporary. The ebbs and flows with the abuse and love. It's soul breaking. 2. You only notice plot holes and inconsistencies when a film is bad. A good movie with plot holes can be forgiven as long as it doesn't break your immersion in the story. When a bad movie loses you, you tend to look for other things to focus on besides the story, hence nitpicking. City government. Yep, I live somewhere with awful city government. Edit. Changed we to I to ease confusion. You're going to have to narrow that down greatly. When I finish my wife's sentences, if it's correct, the conversation goes on and we feel closer. If it's incorrect, I get chastised for interrupting her. When I was a kid, I talked really fast, very quietly, and mumbled. I was extremely hard to understand. My mom, in an amusing effort to try to make me speak more clearly, started guessing what I'd said. but she'd guess the most improbable thing she could think of that sounded remotely like the noises I was making. After getting used to it, I simply started agreeing that yes, that bit of nonsense is 100% what I said. This started an unspoken tradition in my family where we would finish each other's sentences with complete absurdity and then continue on the conversation as if everything made complete sense. Internet speeds. I hate when it buffers on the dude's vinegar face. Forever unclean. A tooth. The tooth hurts. Your health. Sports officiating. They make 99.9% correct calls, but that 0.1% is all that gets noticed. The thing is that the 0.1% of bad calls can completely change a game. Try watching English Premier League football, soccer. They introduced a new video assistant referee. Supposedly with video playback it would eradicate mistakes, but it's actually made it worse. Your appendix. Too soon. I got appendicitis last year. Subtitles. When you're used to seeing subtitles you rarely notice them when they're accurate. As soon as they're bad, it's hard to focus on anything else. Subtitles are a huge problem in Spanish, because most media that gets translated to Spanish has two dubs, one for Spain and one for Latin America, but they usually only make the subtitles for the Spain one, and you end up with subtitles saying completely different stuff. It makes me go bonkers, and is one of the reasons I learned English. Tap water. This is why I'm glad I'm back on well water that's not really hard water. I grew up with well water, and the short time I lived in town I couldn't stand having to drink city water. Hell, even the local Chinese restaurant I can't stand their rice because it always tastes like the over-chlorinated city water. IT support. The best IT is the one you don't know about. Cinematography. All of the effort that goes into camera angles, visual cues, scene order, pace, lenses, field of view, etc. You don't even think about it. Something I've noticed about the first season of The Simpsons is that they don't do establishing shots, and they don't separate scenes with a musical sting. Despite being kinda groundbreaking at the time, it seems awkward now for some unspecified reason. Well, a component of that is bad cinematography. If you just cut from one location to another it leaves the viewer confused, makes the whole thing seem jumbled together, and that's not even live people, but it still has cinematography. Feedback from people. 99 people could compliment you, and one person could say something negative, and you'll dwell on the negative comment. Utilities. Texan here on hour 36 without power, heat, or water. I will never take being able to flush a toilet without melting snow first for granted again. Film editing. I recently became friends with someone who is attending film school. She opened my eyes to things I wish I never knew. Now every time I watch a movie I just notice all the bad stuff and it ruins it. I always notice these and I forget the technical name, but making sure an object is in the same spot through different cuts. That is, if a coffee cup was full and handle was on the right side. The next day of filming making sure the coffee cup is full and handle on the right side. Your wisdom teeth. Just got mine out and lem tell you those shits ducking sucked when they got bad. But even when they were grown and I didn't notice them until they got bad. Breathing. Not being able to do so unwillingly for any amount of time will make you feel panic. Your health. Damn how much I miss being just healthy when I am sick, and how much I underappreciated being not sick. Oh. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.